Hello and welcome to Making Comics and Art, episode 120. And you may remember this piece from yesterday. I'm sure I'll finish it at some point. It's not really centered, right? Cut off his hands, but so yeah, I did that art cast yesterday, and that was a bit of fun. The main purpose to tonight's episode is to catch up on some things, as well as mention that I'll be live streaming every day. Need that. Yeah. These are my notes. I shouldn't ink over my notes. Need to get rid of you. Sorry, just organizing my desk because chaos ensues. All right. Let's get my groove on. Yeah, starting a bit later than I had hoped. It's kind of a whirlwind today of various things I wanted to accomplish. Some chores, some food shopping. I got some cleaning, started laundry, blah blah blah. But yeah, I set up a few live streams. Hey, 24 Eyes, welcome, sir. I dig it. Yeah, set up a few live streams. So if you go to my channel, scroll down a little bit, there's a section set up for upcoming live streams, and I got two coming up. I got Hey Dory, welcome. I got Global Frequency coming in Thursday. I believe that's 1 p.m. I should really write these things down in front of me. I get it off to my side on my calendar, but that's a little ways away. And I got Elliot Rodriguez, the Artist Extreme, coming in on Saturday. I believe that's more nighttime. Neff is a good interview. Yes. Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, all three of them will be here. Neff, Frequency Girl, and of course the artist extraordinaire, Garrett. Garrett Gabsby? What's his last name? I forget. But yeah, they're all really fun people. Really like heavy, hardcore nerds in a sense, but in a good way. And yeah, it'll be fun to have them on talking about Mavericks. Mavericks, if you don't already know, has passed the $10,000 mark, and that is extremely good. And gosh darn it, I forgot to water my plant. Water my brush. I'll be back in a second. Hold on. Okay. Let me put this back on. Yes, they have passed the $10,000 mark. And extremely happy for them. They did a terrific con this weekend. Neff was hysterical because he was streaming live from the convention, taking orders. People wanted to buy comics or art books, and people wanted to say hello to people like myself. That was a good time. Yeah, he did the day 1 and day 3, so first and last day. And it looked like a huge convention center. I said hi to my brother, and Amanda was there, and Jim Calafieri, and HB Comics guys, Chris and John, Ugo, he's an amazing artist. Yeah. But so yeah, today's a bit about catching up with things I wanted to talk about. So yesterday kind of happened. The idea of doing an art stream, a drawer stream, a stream where people come in and doodle and chit chat. You know, I've had it in mind to do at times, and I don't know, like, why I was more compelled yesterday to do it than other days, but I guess because I knew I wanted to stream every day in August, I sort of like, okay, let's launch it off with a drawer stream. Anyway, I kind of tagged some people in it that I know that are much bigger on YouTube and in comics in general. And like I said yesterday, but in case you haven't seen it, and on the chance that you might not watch it, Richard Friend said he would come on my channel at some point for a combo, talk about comics and art and what he's got going on and all that jazz. So I'll get back to him and set that up, because love him, love his work, love his YouTube channel. Met him years ago back in San Diego once. So I'm pretty sure it's the only time I spoke to him, because he's West Coast, I'm East Coast, so it goes. That's not a vampire story. No, it is not. It is not. Although it has a creepy looking ugly guy. So 24 Hours says, I am stoked to back that book and want to see all those goals unlocked. I know Neff worked with a lot of CG artists on the project. Yes, indeed. So what Travis could give is talking about, and thanks for showing up, Travis, is a book I'm currently inking. Let's see if I can remember the name. Sacrificial Lambs. And I'm really excited to be working on that with him. And also Chuck Pignon as the editor. So my first time working with those two guys, and a new penciler, Alfie Furring. I'll have to get the exact pronunciation, but yeah, that's something you can look forward to coming up down the line. As it is, I do have news, and I'll get into it in a bit. I'll be working on more. I just set up a messenger group the other day, and the artist is in there, and the writer is in there. My art rep, Philip, is in there, and we just started the conversation. So We'll see how soon I work on that project. There's a lot of people showing up and a lot of comments. Okay. So 24 hours ago, the artist should, at the very least, record all the drawing, then you can release footage in time lapses after the project you're working on is released too. Yeah. I mean, everybody has their own method. I'm doing this specifically for a reason. Like, while it is cool, it's definitely awesome to watch artists work and see the pages before the book is released. I am a bit of old school. Like back in the day, like I'd go to the comic store and see the book for the first time. We didn't have internet. We didn't have what's upcoming like way back when. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely sharing everything and every page. I'm working on retro here. And that's mostly because I did an initial funding a couple of years back. I really should have had this book done, but life and COVID, global event, all that jazz. But it's like I got to pay the bills working on projects in any way I can. Yeah, I love doing these streams. I love working on my book with people in the chat, and but I think with the second issue I'm gonna be doing a lot less. But also I'll remind people, for those that don't know, once the inks on this issue is done, and I'll swing it this way. This is page 25, but I skipped ahead a little bit. So I have half the book, but half of those pages are close to done. So it won't be too long now before finishing the inks to this book, depending on how the weeks ahead go. I do know, like, we now have a deadline for the graphic novel, kind of, sorta, that I'm working on. And that, that's because there might be an actual event upon its, sort of announcement. So I'm gonna have to get seriously cracking, which means I'm gonna be reinventing myself a little bit over the coming couple of months. I'll still be streaming. I'll still be available, but I might be less seeing what everybody else is up to and focus more on my own work and projects. But it's like I do have a Patreon for those that aren't already pledging there. Down the line, I might just be releasing like behind the scenes, working on the comics I'm working on there, and keeping this more to interview other creators and making new art or something. We'll see. So yeah, Salazar, creepy other guy, talking about me. No, I'm actually referring to that creepy guy. It was a good stream and no internet problems. Is that sarcasm? Because I did, when I'm doing the stream, they're much like a phone. Bars show up when my internet starts getting weaker. Usually it shows me 2 bars or 1 bar, and I know, like, there's already a lag when I'm talking to people, not in my immediate area, not East Coast. But when I start seeing bars, I know like I'm far behind the conversation, and I know what it is like for me to be in the stream and talking to the other people in the stream. I'm not sure how it comes out on the other end. I never really watched an example of when I knew it was going really south, but there were cases where my internet was slowing down, and I was trying to keep up with the conversation, which is why I really didn't focus the conversation. Not as much as I would have wanted to normally. It was just sort of a free-for-all, casual, people getting together and doodling. Even my drawing is like, well, I could have done something much better. But I guess my brain is in 1,000 places, so taking on a lot. And we got Salazar saying hi, 24 hours saying hi. Hey, did anyone catch the Javier Hernandez interview? The host is very charming, and he gives a link to his own show. That's cool. Peter, at least you're working on Retro and showing people what you're doing, and as long as Retro doesn't end up in Walmart first, I think your back is with you. Yeah, no chance of that. No, I'm getting the inks done. Then I'll be working with a friend of mine. She'll be doing flats for me, and I'll be doing the coloring. Then it'll be like final scripting, lettering, and all the extra pages and the credit pages. I'll be working with somebody to do all the sort of production on that. Once everything is done, I'll get probably 100 books printed. There was just over 80 backers. I had a couple of people come at me after the crowdfunder saying, please, I'll pay you now. And so make sure to get Retro first into all their hands. Then I'll be doing a full Indiegogo and make sure to get as many friends involved into help me out and letting people know that it's live and all that jazz. And I really plan to do more interviews or more showing up more on other people's channels. Which reminds me, I gotta say thanks to everybody who's subscribed to my channel. What am I at? 916 now, which is 84 away from 1,000, which is my current goal here on my channel. It's been crazy because I got like almost 30 new subscribers in the last month, or at least the last 30 days. I mean, technically speaking. And that makes me very, very happy. It's good to know that like my freaking hard work is paying off, because man, some days like today, it's like I know I'm doing stuff. I know I'm working hard and busting my ass. But today was a little bit of a blur. Yeah, I as I was saying earlier, I got some chores done and whatnot. But I set up some live streams. What else was I was doing? Oh, one of the big things was like I got rid of a lot of dead accounts that my Facebook profile was attached to, so I can add new friends. So I did that, and that took a while. But it was important, and I probably haven't done that in a very, very long time. Facebook only allows you 5,000 close personal friends. And, I've been at the limit since, I don't know, forever. So Peter Palmiotti was on Dory's show. Sub to Dory. That's right. In front of the show. And EJB, no sarcasm. There was a little botting, but it only lasted a short time. Seemed pretty smooth as a video. Okay, good. Yeah, I know. I know people were saying I sound like a robot at some point, but I didn't know what words came out of my mouth when that was happening. So it's always a little confusing. And it's like I don't have like extreme stats of what the cast going out is coming across as. I think you have if you use OBS, it's more informative about how strong your internet is and all that. But it is what it is. I know I don't have the greatest internet. I know I don't have the most powerful computer. The only reason this works at all is because I finagled every last little setting on my stuff, which took me a while. So I'm pretty comfortable with it, but I just like to keep reminding people, like, hey, apologies. It is what it is. One day I'll have better internet again. Something about I think my cat. Sorry, I'm making you queasy. I think my cat's been playing with my my webcam. Hopefully not on OnlyFans, but yeah, because I keep running into my keyboard, which is next to my monitor. It's like, why am I way over here? My webcam is on a stand that essentially bolts on the side of the desk I'm working on. And it's a bendy, so I could make it twisted a lot of different ways. And I know my kitten has a tendency to mess with everything on my table. I try to take everything off, but I got more comments. You're getting close to 1,000. That's right. Motion is lotion. You have to be out there moving to gain subs on YouTube. It's about consistent content, and being an artist, you have a lot to stream. Absolutely. When Pete gets to 1,000 subs, I'll do a sketch. 1,000 subscribers, worth anything to anyone. It's unless they're public, I don't know who's newly subscribing, but maybe there's a 50-50 chance that I'll know exactly who it is when it happens. Because it's not like I'm getting 5 subscribers at a time. I usually get 1, 2 a day, so it's reasonably easy to watch and see. But yeah, if you want a sketch art from Frank, just something to think about. So I do have a tragic story, which I'll be getting into, but I already mentioned the upcoming streams that I have posted, but I have 5 or 6 people I'm talking to seriously, which means within the next week they should be coming on. But because I don't have specific days or time, and things happen and develop, I'm not going to say who, but just more writers and artists and creators, and I will mention Philip Russert, who is my art rep, will be coming on my channel to release his comic Tragedy on Indiegogo. Now, he said possibly the 3rd, but he'll be on after the fact. He won't be launching on my channel, even though that's a smart thing. Phil, my channel is bigger than yours, but no, he has a much larger fan base to a certain degree, because he does his own conventions. He's an art rep. He has a YouTube channel and interviews a lot more bigger names than I do here. But yeah, looking forward to Tragedy on Indiegogo. It was a success on Kickstarter, and now there was 17 covers in Kickstarter, and I know he mentioned not as many covers on Indiegogo, but I do know that one of what was on Kickstarter, a print that I inked, will actually be a wraparound cover on Tragedy that you can pledge to on Indiegogo. So that cover is his wife drew it, I inked it, and then the colorist added like a more elaborate background to it, as well as colored it really good. So it came out really, really nice. And so I'm excited about that. And I'll now have a cover. Let's see. Did I miss some stuff? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Hey, DJ Sango, welcome, sir. Korean draft. Our Korean draft streaming tonight. Didn't see a notification. I actually had time to check out streams tonight. Do you mean for their indie review show, or just Josh streaming? Because I never get notifications. I usually see his videos pop up after the fact. Well, unless I'm up at like 3 or 4:30 in the morning, because then he usually streams a couple hours at that point, where he's West Coast and up late. And if I get up early, I can see. And then Frank saying hi. Okay, so OBS looks more professional, and that helps with growth, but it doesn't matter in CG as much because the top dogs don't use OBS like other YouTube communities. Yeah, I mean, it's like I like what OBS can do, where you can have the chat on screen, which I don't think is a function here with StreamYard. I'm a little out of touch with what they can do here now, but yeah, OBS is easy enough, and actually it's because of OBS that my internet works. I use my phone to stream. It has its hiccups, but it gets the job done. And DJ Sango says, "How are you?" Is that how are you, everybody in the chat and myself, or just me specifically? I'm not sure. But I'm good. I'm sort of like, I know what the next couple of months and rest of the year look like. And at times I'm very excited. At times I'm very fearful. I got a lot of work ahead of me, and it's hard enough dealing with today. But you mosey on, as they say. I guess whoever claims that 1,000 sub first, yeah. DJ, I'm doing great. Just got done streaming on my other channel. How are you? So here's a question: do you do all your art by hand, or do you do any digital? I've messed around with digital, but not in any serious way. It was more taking either pencils I drew, or a ink drawing I drew, and messing around with color, or just filters or stuff like that. If you go to my Instagram, you could see, I mean, you may have to look back a little ways, but you could see some of my experimentation. It's subtle, maybe sometimes, maybe people don't even notice, but that's me training and learning how to do stuff outside of traditional. But I do have a what's it called, a XP pen, and I'll be using that to digitally color my book. I'm gonna, like I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna have somebody to do the flats. That will save me a ton of time. But I'm going to use that to color my book old school. So we're not talking like modern, fancy computer coloring. It'll be more like an 80s comic book. And that's in part to my skill level. But also it works with this sort of, it works with the title of the book. Gosh darn it. But I will do stuff above and beyond that. But I'm looking towards more, like I'm going to be writing, penciling, inking, coloring an ongoing series. So I want to get better and better over time, first with the ability to have this book come out on a regular schedule. And initially I'm just shooting for a year, because heck, this first issue has taken me years. But it's like, it will, the plan and sort of strategy I have with every book I put out, and I got a lot of books down the pike that aren't any relation to retro, but books that have been in production. So with every book I put out, I'll get more and more used to the process of everything, and more confident about everything. It's a long way of saying, like, when I free up time where I'm not, buried in everything else, I would like to play around a bit with digital. So here is, I have a story. That if I don't get to it now, I won't get to it. Yeah, you may not be interested in hearing this, and it's not a good tale. But a while back, some people down my block, some neighbors, asked me if I can take in their cat. Well, I think it was like the woman's niece's cat, something like that. Because they knew that I have my cats here and I'm really good with my cats, and they knew I would either take it in or find a home for it, and so on and so forth. So I did, and I had the cat all of 3 days before it, got jumped out of my apartment and was gone. It was just like decided that, hey, this is not really my home. Thanks for feeding me for a couple of days, but I got places to be. Anyway, that cat is called Molly, and she was gone for a month, but then showed up again. And what happened was, because kind of at the same time, a little bit after Molly showed up, I came across this kitten that I now own that was running in the street down my block, and I was like, this is just a tiny, tiny, tiny baby kitten, and if it belongs anywhere, then they're not taking care of it. So I'm going to take it in, and that's what I did. I actually later found out that she did have a home, and the other owner knows and doesn't care that I have her. So that's about their level of interest. If you're going to take in a cat or an animal, then take it in. Don't just feed it for a little while and let it fend for itself for the rest of its life. Anyway, so I have 3 cats here. I took in Molly again because she was here a couple of days. She was gone for a month. She showed up again. Like, I was like, Molly? Like, I opened my front door one day, and there she was. I was like, Molly? And she was actually running past, and she turned her head, and she was like, meow. So she recognized me. I recognized her. She ran right in here, and it was like we were never apart. It was like the strangest thing. It's like I barely know this cat, but it's literally my best friend. Anyway, what happened was that I knew I was getting my little one fixed. She's a kitten, and a spot opened up, where I can get her fixed, and it wouldn't be, $100 or whatever they charged me in the past. So what happened was that knowing that I was going to get the kitten fixed, I thought about also getting Molly fixed, until the realization that she was pregnant. And therefore a complication. So now I was like, I can't have a pregnant cat here. I can, it's like, I don't want to be giving birth to babies here. I had to find a home for her, find somebody to foster her, find somebody to take her in. We sort of did the math and figured out that Molly didn't get pregnant within the time that I knew her. So while she was with her previous family, she got pregnant. because I was like worried, like when she ran away the first time, that she went off, got pregnant, and then came back. But it wasn't during my watch, so I felt a little better about that. But so what happened afterwards was, it was like the next night, and it was literally late in the morning. It was like almost 2 a.m. in the morning, and Molly was acting a little weird. I wasn't sure, like if she was trying to get my attention or what have you. And by the way, I saw some comments in the chat. I'll get to those after the story. I'm just trying to keep on track. Yeah, so she was starting to act a little weird, and I wasn't sure what was up. And she started meowing a lot, and that freaked me out. I was like, well, there's something clearly going on. Can't be my imagination. So I called my best friend Lisa, who's had experience with pregnant cats, told her what was happening. She said, well, it doesn't sound like anything's going to happen right now. But if that changes, give me a ring. And literally like minutes later, she goes from meowing like here and there to meowing one after the other, just meow, 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 like in a really bizarre way. And I was like, okay, this is totally freaking me out. Something sounds wrong, blah, 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 So I called Lisa again and said, you got to come over here. And it was just lucky that like Lisa was up and that she was feeling good enough to come by. So she came by, and not to give every last detail, but essentially, Molly was pregnant, and when Lisa came over, her water dropped, and she was going to have the kittens. And Molly was doing this thing where she was like flipping from one side, laying down, to flipping over to her other side. Like she was clearly highly uncomfortable, and she was still meowing, but not as fierce. And when we pet her, she would quiet down and seem more at ease. And when we put our hand under her belly, it seemed to make her more comfortable. But the outcome is that she was she seemed to be going into labor until Lisa thought, by moving her, like maybe putting her in one of our taxis, like a bigger taxi, that she would feel better in an enclosed space, and she would be more relaxed. And I think it had the opposite effect. She froze up, and I've never seen, I don't deal with pregnant animals, but I've never seen a cat freeze up. Like, she looked like a statue. She stopped making noise, although, like the whole birthing process, she was breathing fast on top of everything else. And So she froze up. She wasn't moving. Her eyes were wide. You could still hear her breathing fast, but she didn't move. So it's a little bit of a blur now, but I forget. It was I think Lisa took her in for a little while or something. Did we move her? Did she stay with me another day? I forget now. Jesus. It was a little bit of a blur because I was then going on no sleep as well. But essentially within 24 hours, like, a lot less than that, Lisa came across another neighbor, but like the opposite end of my block, that not only has a bunch of animals herself. I always knew she had dogs, and I kind of had a feeling she had cats, but she took her in. She took Molly in. Lisa spoke to her, and she came to me and told me, like, this woman's not only going to take care of Molly and watch over her while she's pregnant and has the kittens, but that she, has a place for Molly to go afterwards, like some relatives that own a farm. And I was like, that's great, because, I can't have a pregnant cat here. So we did that. It's like I had Molly. Yeah, like Lisa didn't take her. I had her. I still had her myself. Because I remember her relaxing in the morning much more than she was the previous night, which was only 4 hours later, whatever it was. So me and Lisa told me that, and I was outside, and I went into my place and got Molly in the cage, and we went over to where the woman lived and met her and gave her Molly and gave her the cage, and I said, thank you, thank you for all this, and thank you for taking her in. Do you need anything else? I had, she's like, no, I have everything I need, and whatever I don't need, I can get. And I was like, that's so great of you. And then we didn't hear anything, and we continued not to hear anything. And this is like maybe a week later. Like, I was extremely busy, and this woman, I think, has nighttime hours, and I'm not up past midnight, at least not gallivanting outside. It's not New York out here. So it was only until a couple of nights ago. It was late at night, and Lisa says, meet me outside. So she usually drives up, and she wants to talk in her car. So, and I'm like, what's up? And she's like, I saw her, the woman. I won't say her name, but and I kind of automatically had a feeling like things weren't great. And she said Molly was too young to have kittens. She also was giving birth early, a month and a half early. And she had, we expected like her first kitten to not survive. So that's what happened. So, like the first kitten she had didn't survive, because what essentially happened was that she froze up, and you know, the kitten didn't have a chance, and so when she was with the one, okay, we did speak once. We did speak once to check in on Molly after a couple of days, and I remember her saying Molly was relaxing on her bed, you know, um, like she was upstairs relaxing on the bed, hasn't given birth, no sign of when she would, and so forth. So like, and that was a few days after her water broke. So I'm thinking like, because the first kitten probably needed to have been delivered right then and there that night, and it wasn't, so it just didn't survive. What happened was that the woman got the first baby out, and that's all she was successful in doing. And she didn't, she's no expert. So she knew she needed help. So she got a vet to come by, and the vet gave her a C-section. Turns out Molly had 9 kittens in all, and only one survived for a short time. And then that one didn't make it. Molly, because of it was 9 kittens. It's way too much for any other. Essentially, she was very young. She wasn't kitten, but she was very young, too young to be pregnant, and she didn't survive. So that's that whole story. It was just like heartbreaking. It was just, I was not good. It's a cat I've only had for like maybe a little over a week in the amount of days that I knew her. But she was super sweet. She didn't get along with my other cats, but I chalked that up to her being pregnant, and wanting to defend herself. But yeah, it was a bit heartbreaking, and I knew I wanted to talk about it here at some point, and really sucks. But we all did what we could, and I at least gave it a home for a little bit. And this is why you should get animals fixed, so that it doesn't go. I don't know how it got pregnant in the first place, but like I said, wasn't when it was here. It's really dragged though. I wish I could have been more help to her, but I don't have, my apartment is so small. It's like I can't afford to have my cats plus a stray cat, and that's why she was meowing loud. She was, in pain, uncomfortable. It was really like too much blood was lost during the C-section, and all the kittens coming out. But that's enough of that. So I'll go back and see questions. I know you had a question. Okay, so 24 eyes. What's your strongest skill? Pencils, inks, or color? Inks. That's the easy one. I've been an inker most of my career. And I could draw, but I don't really officially consider myself a pencil yet. Retro issue 2, next issue will be the first fullest issue. So definitely inks. I've done some coloring. I know in my head what I like and what I don't like. I think that will help me be a decent colorist. That's what I use. XP Pen Artist. I'm not sure what number mine is, but same difference. I am for fun artists. Limited my ability. I draw tattoo flash mostly, and just got an iPad to digital draw. Learning curve for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Make me want a kitty. I thought you were a dog person, Dory. Yeah, I started doing digital on my phone. I think I mentioned that. Yeah, graphics tablet, then a screen tablet, but also do traditional. Come on. Did the stream end? Oh, there it is. No, we didn't end. I think it's my internet. I didn't notice anything. I've been focusing on drawing. I exited and I come back. I can see it now. Okay. Yeah, so that's the Molly tale. It's kind of like I don't want to talk about it, don't want to think about it, but kind of like I do want to just get it out of my system. At this point, I have 4 cats, and that's not going to change. As my kitten has become a little bigger kitten, she's gotten a lot better about like just attacking everybody at every moment, and me. So she's become more of everybody's friend, although she does have her wild moments as young ones do, but she is becoming a sweetheart within my gang. And that's Panda Bear. That's I recently posted a picture around. She's a real cutie. Right now, all my cats are outside. So, but love each and every one of them. And whoever I date has to be accepting of that. That's all I have to say to that. But yeah, I'm gonna be streaming every day this month on my channel here. Like as always, like, hey, let me actually do something. I can do stuff. Where is it? No, that's not that. This is what I want. Okay. Subscribe to my channel. Trying to pass my goal of 1,000 subscribers. That's right. One and all. Make sure to subscribe. And I can do this. That would be when I get release my first comic, which will be Retro Issue 1, which is what I'm working on right at the moment. It will have that logo has Comics Dude on the cover. So know my brand by its name, since and that the name has comes from my studio name, which is Human Art Studio. So that's just a shortening of that. And Dude, it serves dual purposes, but I can't give that away too soon. But yeah, so I came up with the first design, but I got somebody to do my comic logo, and I like it. I like it. Panda Bear is a cute kitty. This is truth. Whoever I date has to accept that I make comics. Yep, it's true. It's true. So there's so much I can do to this drawing. I'm just trying to figure out how heavy I can or should go with the lines here. It's because I'm liking what I'm seeing, and I know if I go a lot crazier with the feathering, then it might lose some of its awesomeness. But I could always step away and go back to it later, because there is more I'm going to do to it, but I'll attack it later. You know, there was a point in my career where I inked like a page. I inked like, well, a page at a time. Sometimes even a panel. Like I would insist upon myself to do one panel, then do the other panel, then do the other panel, and then finish the page. You know, but you know, now I'm jumping. I'm jumping not only around my own comic. Well, you know, for other people, I'm a little more on point, but the graphic novel I'm working on, since I have all the pencil pages, I am doing a little bit on the one page, and I'll jump into another. But I am trying to give them finished pages so they don't bug me every day. And Dory says, "Whoever I date has to accept that I lived in San Diego and do so until my youngest is done with high school." So here's a question: are you open to long distance dating? Because I've tried that, and that's no fun. The last girl I was hoping that something would become of it. And it was like she lives in, essentially Virginia, and I'm out in Kentucky, so it's a plane ride. You can do it by car, but I accept that you live in San Diego. That's cool by me. It gives me a place to crash when I go to San Diego Comic Con. I'm kidding. Frank, well, whoever I date has to accept that I like dragons. Oh well. Peter, here's a question: are you single at the moment? And Tori says, the short answer, yes. To long distance is acceptable. Yeah. I'm sort of in this moment in time. I'm going to be busier than I've been maybe in my whole career over the next 4 months, over the next 6 months. So I'm not looking to date per se, but I'm open to meeting new people and whatever develops. To be perfectly frank with Frank. So who else is drawing tonight? Are you working while I'm working? I should demand that anybody who watches my show should be also getting work done. I don't want nobody sitting on their couch watching me on their widescreen TV and eating Captain Crunch in their They should be at their in their art studio, wherever that may be in their home. Working on their comic or art or painting, or if they're coloring, what have you. Okay, I think I just missed a lot. Okay. For the record, I wasn't hitting on Peter. What is this? The dating game? Hi, Keith. Hi, Oliver. The crying game. Hey, Keith. How's your comic coming along? I was going to go live, but I ended up doing a digital piece instead. Oh, cool. I just hung up fly traps, so I'm drawing flies as usual. Bada boom. Well, welcome, Keith. Always good to see you. Watching you on my black and white TV with Rabbit antenna. Nice. Are you psychic? I just finished Captain Crunch Berries. What the fuck? I was munching on chicken nuggets. Now I'm going to have to grab something after the show. And I just ate before. I did a third digital painting for a series I'm doing. Cool. So that IG looks cool. Thanks. Excellent. So yeah, the title is All Days in August, so I'll be streaming all days this month on my channel. I guess in a small part, to get more notice here, maybe get a bunch more subscribers. What is it? 84 away from 1,000. And that's something, it's like, I think the last 30 days were a good 30 days, and I got 30 new subscribers. So best case scenario, what, November at the current rate? So even if I stream every day this month, I'm not going to pass 1,000 this month. I don't expect it. But, at least maybe get more eyes on what I'm doing as I'm doing it. I mentioned this before. Once I'm done inking Retro 1, I'm going to be working on the graphic novel here. So I've already shown sneak peeks, if you caught them, of some of that work. That's a 110-page story. It will be, also available digitally, but they want to do a print version. And right now, fingers crossed, I get my act together and get more pages to them faster. We'll premiere it later this year, which might possibly involve me taking a trip. So we'll see. And more comments. Keith, what does whatever they have to reason? Inquire minds on that. I don't think Keith's ready to. I posted out Phoenix I drew last night. I think I'll print out the line and color it when I use my new alcohol markers more. Cool. And Dory says to San Diego. No, but nearby. The goal is to release, and I don't know. I didn't sign an NDA. I don't know if they want people to know, but LA Comic Con is where they're hoping to release it. But we'll see. That's if I do my job, the colorist does his job, the letterer does his job, they get it printed on time, everything doesn't screw up. Yeah. If all the factors are in all the places at the right times, so fingers crossed. I hope it happens. Oh yeah, that's what I was supposed to do today or yesterday or wow, it's already tomorrow. No, I was supposed to do just today. Supposed to make a phone call. I forgot. Another thing to put on my list for tomorrow. I got things to find out. People to talk to. But yeah, it's gonna get nuts. It's gonna get crazy. But I hope for like an end of year success story where I can just bathe in the glory and maybe even take a little time off. Okay, so I've been doing Justin drawings after Barry Windsor Smith's Conan. I discovered the first small issue came out in my birth year and month. Oh, awesome! Love Barry's work, and that's. Are you doing it in video format, Keith? So people can go and watch it. Frank, do you have Keith's YouTube channel link to share to the peoples? Since you have the wrench. I mailed out mini comics today. A million another bundle tomorrow to Javier Hernandez. Oh, awesome. One story, I can mail you a drawing when I finish calling you. There we go. That's Keith's. Go subscribe to Keith. I'm not sure what his subscriber count is right now, but there is a published comic creator right there. Unlike me, 30 years in the business, and I still haven't gotten my own book out. Or almost 30. It'll be 30 in September. Or thereabouts. Thereabouts. You know, I was totally exhausted. Like towards the end of this day, and even before I started streaming live. I think it was the heaviness of Molly that's been weighing on me. And I know I just needed to get it out of my system. It's like I'm going to miss her. For the short time I've known her. She was a good kitty. She deserved better. Other than that, what else is going on? Just talking to a lot of people in chats and setting up interviews. And get a bunch of people on here this month. Okay, here we go. I did record some of it, haven't uploaded any of it yet. Oh, cool. So subscribe to Keith Harper's channel so you can see him drawing, mimicking Barry Smith Conan, which is awesome. So go check that out when it comes up. Sub to Keith, he's at 112 subs. Excellent, excellent. Seriously, I would love that. I guess you're talking to Frank, who's Phoenix drawing. Davey Rocket Armor. Yahoo! Yeah, sound like just like Davey. Keith did the 30 days mini comic challenge. It's on his channel. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, because you invented that, Frank, and Keith took it and ran with it. And here we got Lola falling in love with me. Perhaps I do have a date for tonight. Well, welcome, Lola. I like your picture. What is up? What is up? Okay, so if that's okay. Trying to figure out what his so Rich Future is a penciler of issue 1 of Retro, and the first 19 pages were penciled back in 2009, 2010, around there, and the recent pages were penciled probably a year ago now. And it's a lot more hatching and feathery and really, real different on some levels. Which, if you've been really looking at the pages, then you could see. Keith goes, Loa Falana. No, it's Loa Meats. And Salazar goes, we're doing the Bugcast special next week. We don't have a guest for the following week yet. Oh, I'm sure you'll get one. You've been talking to everybody in their chats and everything. And Lois Love, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, I started it, and Keith accepted the challenge. With the 30 days of making mini comics. And Lois says, "Yeah, I am a bit extra. I've been running into a lot more extra people." I'm cool with that. And speaking of extra, Lola, are you sub to Dory? Lola might be wrong. Or Anna Robb. That's right. Anna Robb passed her goal, but trying to grow her channel. Mentally, not actually by doing videos or streams or anything, but Anna's trying to grow her channel by thinking about it. And then Dory says, I'll pass on the podcast. So she's not a fan, Frank. She's not a fan. You should cancel it. I wonder if I'm always on screen. I know, might be missing some of my ink twirling. So Lola, what do you do? Are you here for art? Like I make comics. I draw stuff. I do interviews on my channel. I mean, if you sub to my channel, I'm sure you're interested in something of the sort. But if you're not, then that's even even nicer of you to subscribe to my channel. All right. This is like the bad guy page. He's creepy. He's bad. His face is all messed up. What was I watching? Oh, one of the YouTubers that watch movies and give their reactions was watching RoboCop, and she didn't like it. I can't believe she out and out said, "I do not like this movie." But there's that scene where one of the bad guys throws another one of the bad guys into some toxic goop, and the guy starts melting, and he's essentially almost falling on his friend, and his friend's trying to push him away. And so that happened today, and now I'm inking this guy, and it's it looks like he was thrown into toxic waste dump or something. Oh, something. And it grows a child by me telling everyone so. Sorry, it's understandable. There might be low numbers that night. Or you might get all the bug-loving people to come to you now. Have you guys heard of Mortide from Crack Magazine back in the 70s and 80s? Yeah, he's one of the Cracked artists. Did he only do Cracked, or was he part of Mad as well? Oh, he was editor-in-chief. Okay. But he was one of the artists too, right? Or maybe one of the writers, or both. Everybody did everything. Keith, I've heard of Cracked, but I don't think I read it that much. It was Marvel's version of Mad, right? So a good interview with him today. He spills some tea. Oh man, I hate when artists spill tea. It's like the worst. It ruins their artwork. Wait, she didn't like RoboCop. Who doesn't like RoboCop? Exactly. You know, she's a millennial. You know, kids these days. Yeah, I mean, you know, you talk about RoboCop. It's the perfect movie from beginning to end. You know, let's ask, is Dory still here? Have you seen RoboCop? Is it just women don't like RoboCop? What about Lola? You still here? Do you like RoboCop? 24 Eyes. Whose shadows in the watching right now? Keith says, yeah, he wrote and did art as well. What kind of tea? Bitter tea. Yeah, I knew what you were really saying. And Dory says, yes, she does like it. The first one is good. Yeah, most people feel that way. I mean, you know, it's like it's weird to think back then, where I knew like they were including Frank Miller with the second movie, and I was super excited, and then it came out, and I was super confused. Because, you know, up until that point, like that was the first bad thing that Frank ever did, I think. But, you know, I don't know whatever led to, you know, maybe one day we'll get a behind the scenes of RoboCop 2 and 3. You know, I've heard some stories, but I kind of feel like they just maybe took a script and, you know, didn't ask his advice. I don't know. Who knows? All right. What am I looking at? Oh, one thing I haven't mentioned, and I think I'm gonna get a message probably. Well, not not for a good reason, but my friend Lisa might actually be taking a trip tomorrow, maybe. Um, like somebody she knows needs a favor, essentially needs a ride um, out of town, and she needs to go to what you call it, Louisiana. Um, and as she's telling me all this, I'm thinking, how can I go and it not interrupt all that I'm doing? How could I make it work? It's like, oh man, I want to go on vacation. It's not a vacation for her friend, um, but it would be a little bit of a vacation for Lisa. She'll at least get to go to the ocean, but it's not confirmed, so who knows? But it was like, I got all this work, but maybe I could ditch out for a couple of days. They'll be back in 2 or 3 days, and I could sleep on the floor of the hotel. They'll barely notice I'm there. I, it's been a little while since I've been to the beach, but it's like, nah, I can't do that. It's like I got too much going on, and it's already hard enough with me here working all the time, keeping a handle on things. It's like when I know, like, when Christmas comes, when the end of the year is here, I'll definitely be, you know, more than likely more in a position where I could take a break. I can't just fly off the handle willy nilly and go anywhere I want at any time. That would be irresponsible. And Frank is waiting for Robo Artist so he can draw your book. You want your book drawn by a robot artist? If you want a new rad sci-fi to watch, well, technically it's not new, but Prospect on Netflix is awesome. I haven't even heard about it, but I'll at least look it up. Yeah, Prospect. All right, you don't have to tell me anything about it. I'll check it out. If it sucks, I'm coming after you. But you know, still really won't be your fault. You just thought it was good and thought to tell me. Um, wait, what am I doing? Okay, that's it. Okay, here we go. More and more comments. Everybody's talking. But he has some really great Steve Ditko anecdotes. Oh, okay, cool. Um, I guess at this point I should ask you, where's the interview? Is it on a video website? Where is it, Keith? Keith, you talked about Steve Ditko on tonight. Yeah, Javier talked about Steve Ditko. What time? And just in case you don't know, Taco Creator Cast is live every Monday at 9 p.m. Central. Oh, Jesus, a lot of comments. Are you free next Monday, Keith, for the podcast, or are you still playing the video? I think Keith's avoiding the podcast. That's just my opinion. Hey, Landon, welcome. How's it going, dude? It's going well, going well. Still playing it by ear. Pedro Pascal is in it. Prospect. Pedro Pascal. Might be ringing a bell. Dory says, "Oh, I won't play it by ear." Oh, spoilers not allowed. I'm a huge sci-fi snob, so you're good. um, yeah, I'll definitely check it out. Also love Pedro Pascal. Even though he stole my initials. It's true. It's true fact. Um, Fun fact: Keith was one of the original hosts of what became Tarago Creative. I can't believe it's not the Arcast. Then Anna said he had to go. I mean, she just suggested a new format. That's funny. Don't we talk about Prospect on Peter's screen? Uh, so Keith says, "How old were you when you learned what an inker did?" That's a interesting way of putting it. I don't think anybody's asked me ever in my career that specific question. So I would say the answer to that lies in me buying comics. And I remember for the first 2 years of buying comics, I did not read them. I was strictly a art collector. And then I got into reading them, and I know probably a little bit later than that, I got into following, what writers wrote what books and what penciled what books. And so to answer your question, how old was I? Early teens? I hope that's a good answer. I was probably early teens. Because, later, my late teens, I went to high school, and by then I was surrounded by artists. And I definitely knew then, but I think I knew when I was just picking up comics and following the artists, because I liked what this one did or what that one did. It's like all the characters I love. So it almost didn't matter. It did, but it didn't matter what character book I was picking up. It was more about, I want to pick up Avengers because George Perez is doing it. I want to pick up X-Men because John Byrne is doing it, or Conan because Barry Smith, or Nick Fury, Stranko, some issues of X-Men, Neil Adams, P. Craig Russell, Killraven, Rich Buckler. Oh Jesus! What the freak name was his name? Speaking of RoboCop, Deathlock. Yeah, Deathlock, the original RoboCop. Come on, let's face it, they stole from Marvel. But yeah, I loved keeping track of what writers were doing what. Like, I love a lot of Jim Shooter's writing, Roy Thomas, Chris Claremont, of course. Doug Mensch is insane. So many. Steve Eaglehart, freaking love. Trying to remember like all the writers like I was growing up on. Didn't a lot of the editors wrote, so it was like so many great writers. I learned about inkers when I saw Chasing Amy, but she's not an inker. I don't get it. Chasing Amy's not an inker. Morton has a channel. Oh, Morton has a channel. Okay. Go sadistic. That's cute. Like, how did you find out? I mean, unless you are deep into comics, no one knows about inking, or maybe I'm just uninformed. Well, I mean, even back when, like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure I saw inker, and didn't know what an inker was the first time I saw the word, but I don't think it was, that long a gap between the first time I saw the word inker and when I knew what an inker did. I mean, there's levels to everything. It wasn't until I chose it as a career and tried to ink well that I really knew what an inker did. But just like essentially, they were early on, they were called embellishers, and that made a lot more logical sense. So I do what I do in most cases. I just visualize the answer in my head. And I just knew in my gut. I don't really remember specifics of how I learned what inkers do. Like talk to artists, talk to people at conventions, that sort of thing. I don't know if this is the same interview, but more time about cracked on flipping through. Okay, I'll check it out later. I guess I started in how to draw comics a mile away, but I never understood it. Yeah, well, I definitely had a copy of that. I don't know if it's when it initially came out or if I got one much later. But that was the Bible for my generation, in many ways, because there wasn't as much information out there. But I think like my generation back then were better at doing our own research. It's like if we didn't know something, then we didn't have wiki to just spoil us and tell us all the answers, or IMDb or whatever you're looking for. I did go to comic conventions. Like my father took us to our first conventions, me and Jimmy. And we had a barber shop that had comics. We had my father picked up newspapers, and there was comic strips in there. And but specifically at the conventions, I'm sure I just walked around. I didn't talk as much when I was younger, but Yeah, it's if you asked me 30 years ago, maybe I would have known the exact answer. I'm just going off on tangents here. Landon says earrings are looking pretty good so far on that page. Thanks. Yeah, there's a lot more I'm going to be doing to this, and I'm sort of I'm not waiting for inspiration per se. I'm waiting to be in the right mindset to do specific things, which isn't a bad thing, you know. It's like if I needed to get this page done today, I can get it done today. But because I choose to do quality over rushing these pages, if I'm not feeling a moment, then I can choose to get back to it later and work on it. Because yeah, what's very different, like the reason I mentioned like Rich doing the initial batch of pages years ago, and then the last batch of pages more recently, is because, you know, his style has altered. Therefore, my approach will alter or not, you know, considering I have final say. But I want them to look at the best they can. Hey, does anybody do this? Like, maybe this is more a question for Landon and maybe Keith. So I'll show you specifically what I do. Okay, let's see if I can really get this up close. So these lines, like what I find myself doing is I'll make parallel lines, and I'll only have I'll do one line, right? One line across, and then I'll do all these hatched lines going down, and they're all parallel. But I'll stop exactly at a point without another line to stop me, if that makes sense. Yeah, I do that. That's like a weird thing, like in my head. It's like instead of doing both lines in ink and then just going, you know, with all the parallel lines, I sort of visualize where to stop, and then then I'm like, I'll draw the second line in after the fact. It just feels goofy to me. It's like I'm trying to jump further for no particular reason, like trying to do some Olympic moves, and there's no reason for it. Maybe it's just, you know, maybe mentally it's just practice. It's like when you ink, there's a certain mastery of control that you have, and I know like if I'm in it at any point, or if I just should be filling in blacks. Like if I'm not in my groove, I'm gonna mess something up, and it's just better for me to fill in blacks or work on backgrounds like buildings. Because I know it's just going to come out like a mess. I might have to fill it in all with black. But let's see. Comments. When I chased Amy, she told me what ink is. All right, so, Jesus, I almost been going 2 hours. Okay, how old were you when you knew inking was for you? Really, when I decided to make it a career, I knew I sucked at that point, even at that point, and that was after high school and college and years later. It was literally when I made a commitment to myself that I wanted to do it for a living. And, my in through the door was inking, because I knew being a penciler would take longer. Being a colorist didn't interest me. Being a letterer didn't interest me. Being a writer had some interest, but I didn't think it was a good way in the door. So being an inker was my easy in, and I worked my ass off to be good. And it took me a couple of the first years to become decent, and then a couple more years to become, to start nailing things. And really, my first work that I'm proud of was the first issue of Aquaman I did, because I spent a full month, day and night, on that freaking book. And it shows. The quality is there. It got easier, as I went issue to issue. So Dory says, I didn't really understand what inking really encompassed until I met Rich Verrader. Yeah, Rich is good. He used to be my inking assistant, or one of them. I had a couple, and mostly around the time I was doing Aquaman, for sure, because that was a monthly grind. Maybe for a little bit during my Marvel work, but I think I started handling everything again. Psst, kid, did you know that ink and drawings over the pencils over the it's true. I had seen Chasing Amy, but didn't get how funny and offensive that scene was until this year. Yep. Yeah, we discussed that. It wasn't until YouTube and I started inking before it clicked for me. It took me 4 decades. Yeah, you guys were right there in it, in the NYC area. Yep. Yeah, I mean, the great thing about living in New York in the 90s, working for DC and Marvel, is that I got to just hop on the train and go up to their offices and hang out for a little while each time. It was amazing. So, yeah, I think I'm going to slowly end this, but so I'll read as many comments as we have here, but we're coming up on 2 hours, so I'm trying to get better at inking. I just trace at the moment. I go over my own line, but I've been playing around with inks more. Yeah, I mean, it takes a while to really fine tune lines, and I don't think I started out with a steady line or a steady hand. But I drink a mess of too much coffee, and my hands rock solid, so that helps. And it says inking actually requires a lot of focus and concentration, not as easy as it looks. Yes, that's why I get lost in conversations here and work on my book. No, but it's true. It's it does take maximum concentration unless you have done it for a while. During I think when I had Peter on the Tarako Creative Cast the first time, I asked him about chasing him. Yes. Keith goes, it makes sense. It is possible to focus the camera a little more clear. I just want to see better what you're talking about. Oh. Yeah, you're going back to let's see. I do have my camera thing here. Yeah, derp. So what I was talking about here is essentially I do the one line across, and then I do all these up and down lines, but I don't have the other line done. It's open-ended, and I'm ending them all, pretty much the same exact spot as if the line was there, but then I put in the line afterwards. Like I said, I'm just mentally trying to do some Olympic trick with my inking, because I find myself doing that a lot. It's like I think part of it is that I want to see if the open-ended lines looks better, and I'm not sure until I actually see it. So that's why. I'm too heavy-handed with inking, so I want to veer into Sienkiewicz or Russ Edmund territory to cover my mistakes. Yeah, man. But like Sienkiewicz may look messy, but he's got control of hand and also insight of where his work is going to take him. But you'll get there, Keith. I see the quality in your work. Yes, you do have a heavy hand. My early inks were very heavy-handed. You just gotta be aware of your shortcomings and mentally force yourself not to be heavy-handed. That's all. Like what is it? Green Lantern. Show some will. Put some will in it. Didn't like the answer. That's also a possibility. I've been inking for ages and didn't realize the connection since I paint on canvas. When I did inking on paper art back in the day, it never occurred to me what I was doing really, because I've always painted over. And I'm not sure if this ties in with what you're saying, but when I ink, I try to really focus on how thick the line is with every stroke. First pass is usually thin, and my eyes can see the picture better. Okay, I gotta jump ahead. Then I thicken the lines as I need them, and the thicker lines usually pop those elements forward, and thinner ones tend to push stuff back. Yeah, I mean that has really nothing to do with what I was describing, but I mean that's okay. It's I should really just draw a picture. This will make it very easy. So there's a line going across, and there's all these feathered lines. So I'll draw them like this. And so here, I'll even do the camera up closer. All right, so it almost looks like teeth, right? But these are filled in. This is just, these are like, think of these as brush strokes. They're feathered lines, right? All right, you get the idea. And what I'm doing is, I'm going with my brush, and pretty much they're all exactly at a similar point as I go. So I go with my brush and do all these parallel lines and keeping them pretty much the same exact distance. Then I go with my brush and make another line parallel to that first one. So exactly where the tips of all those end. But if I did this line right after I inked that line and then did all these feathering lines, I could just stop at that line instead of guessing in the middle of the air. If you get what I'm saying. If not, then that's okay too. See that guy up close? You can see him up close now. He's gross. He's gross. All right. So Dory said, I totally get that. Linen, the pen, and kind of device I use to ink will totally depend on thickness desired. No, wait. This one. No, this one. Big shopping and to get lists are traditional inking tools, like what the comic guys use. All right, I might have to start fast forwarding. There's more comics coming in. I like the different inker that Jason Lee's character gives in Chasing Emma, paraphrasing. An inker gives depth and shading to the pencils. Only then does the image come to life. Yeah, I mean, inking originally was because printing wasn't as good and printing capability couldn't print pencils very good. But it is highly useful, and 99.9% of pencils should not be printed as pencils. They should be inked, in my opinion. I mostly paint everything. However, I am more and more appreciating maybe leaving something in black and white, which means I have a lot of work to get better at inking. Yes. I love Sienkiewicz. I know his early work. First time I remember seeing Bill Sienkiewicz was Moon Knight, right? Unless I'm mistaken. That was very Neil Adams, and I think he even trained under Neil for a little bit or something. But yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you mean. And yeah, it looks cool to me, and the lines disappearing like that look good. It's all about the detail you do draw, where you put the detail and where you don't. Yep. Now you get it. Wait, I'm jumping around. I just did that one. Okay. You add the holding line letter. Yeah, genius. I get what you're saying out there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just an inker. I can't explain what I do. I just do it. EJB goes, when Sienkiewicz said that when he inks over others, he varies the styles and matches the pencils, but he says that often they tell him they want it more Sienkiewicz-y with splatters and whatever. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. I love. I think I've seen like Bill Sienkiewicz over like people like Gil Kane, or like you get somebody like Klaus Janson or Tom Palmer, over like more classic artists, and you really see not only them shining, but how like the potential of those pencilers in a more modern style would have looked. I really love when they do that. Kevin Nolan is a fantastic inker, but he's not for everybody, and he does have a tendency to highly influence the penciler's work. Like put his style like over the penciler's work. My wife is wanting me to go to bed now, so until next time, take it easy, Peter. It was cool watching ink and chatting a bit tonight. Night, guys. Yeah, thanks for coming by. Great to see you here. We've got to get on each other's channels eventually, Landon. You do great work. Yep. He started as a Neil Adams clone, then went crazy awesome. Little known fact, or maybe it's known, but my brother's wife, for people still don't know, Jimmy Palmiotti is my brother. The youngest of 4 brothers. It's just me and Jimmy in comics. But Jimmy's wife is Amanda Connor, and she posed for Neil Adams. She posed for Bill Sienkiewicz for the Electra Assassin graphic novel, and she posed as Electra. So, little fun fact there. So yeah, I've been going over 2 hours. Holy crap! This was fun though tonight, and I'm glad. I really needed to get that cat story out of my gut. And once I did, I became sane again. And I was so glad to have talked about art and inking and all that. So yeah, give this video a like. Hope you enjoyed the show. As always, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you really want to support my work and all that I do, go to my Patreon and pledge for any level there. Every little bit helps. And good help, Pete. I'm sure he meant something else. But yeah, definitely. It was a good episode, considering how mentally exhausted I was earlier, and how I dragged out throughout the day, just trying to accomplish too many things. Oh, good show, Pete. Okay, I kind of figured it might have been something along those lines. Thank you, buddy. And thank you, everybody, for showing up. It means a lot. It means a lot that you watch. It means a lot that I see people share it out later. That, people that watch the show later leave comments. It doesn't happen as often as it used to, but I appreciate each and every one. And I hope you get, just a little bit of knowledge or insight, or just learn by watching me do what I do. So yeah, tomorrow is probably going to be another solo show. I got more shows to set up with future guests, which I'll be doing throughout the day, and I'll tell you about it next time. Till then, have a great night, everybody. Keep working on your own passion projects.